Om Jnanatimirandasya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we will continue Bhagavad Gita from where we left. It is text 40 of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's a very, very famous sloka. Neha Bhikramana Sosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Okay. Purport: activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can the small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed, otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%, whereas in the material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. Ajamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. Okay, so this is a very important principle that this particular shloka is highlighting us. So, neha vikramana sasti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So this there is a little endeavor in this direction. So now so many different things in second chapter, so many different yogas have been talked about. First the Sankhya, and then like working without the attachment to the results and things like that. But suddenly in between, this concept of bhakti yoga, also comes in. So anyway, like second chapter is kind of a mixture of various things that is there, and that's why Arjuna will also ask for clarity, when it comes in the next chapter. So here we see that this is an aspect of bhakti yoga or pure devotional service that is performed. So that is action that is performed for the pleasure of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay. Suddenly my screen has gone. Okay. I hope everyone are there. Mm, okay. So here it is mention of okay. So here it's mentioned of this act. Even a small percentage of actions that are performed in Krishna consciousness bears a long-term result, and also it doesn't vanish. So in the material plane, if we have to finish, until unless we finish a degree, we will not get we'll finish all the examinations and things like that, we will not get the certificate. So we will not be recognized for that. It will not be of much use. And any work materially we take, if it is not completed, then we don't enjoy the benefit of it. But in Krishna consciousness, whatever we perform, everything is preserved and saved, right? So that's a benefit of the Krishna consciousness. And then we see that no, there is no failure in this attempt. So because anyone who performs even a little bit of thing, it's always a credit, and there is no failure. And then it protects us from a most dangerous type of fear that we will see in the purport later. And here Prabhupada is talking about this character called Ajamil. So he was a nice Brahmana. He was born in a Brahmana family, and then he was practicing Krishna consciousness nicely. But then, after some time in his youth, he got attracted to a prostitute, and he started living with her. And then he started doing robbery and then murders and things like that. So much of degradation had happened, and when he was about to die, so he had actually named his youngest son as Narayana. And then when he was very, very attached to him, and when he was about to die, he called out to the name of this youngest son, Narayana. And that bore a great result for him, because he was not committing any offenses. Offensive name is it will not give us liberation. But then there are three levels of names are there. One is Nama Aparad, and Nama Bas, and Shuddha Nam. So this Nama Bas means Nama Abas. Abas means a reflection of the pure holy name. So Nam Aparad means like we are chanting the names with all offenses, and then it will not bear sufficient results. It will definitely give some sukruti. It will definitely get us to the point of meeting devotees, and some kind of sukruti that it generates. But then Namabhas is required for a person to go till the level of liberation. So this Ajamil, he was not actually committing any offenses, because he was like completely fairly new. And then he was not offenses means it is mistreatment with regard to devotional elements, right? So offenses cannot, we can completely a materialistic person with materialistic environment, he doesn't have any access to any devotional things. He cannot possibly do much of offense actually. So that is why generally we see new people advancing a lot, very, very fast in Krishna consciousness, because they are quite new and they don't have much access to the spiritual things to offend. So they make a fast progress. But then after, once our life is fully filled with spiritual elements and everything all around, it's all spiritual elements, we start committing some offenses. Then the devotional progress starts becoming a little slow. Then after that, we have to work hard to remove the offenses, and then get to the pure chanting of the names of the Lord. So generally this goes through this kind of a process. And here we see that Ajamil also somehow he got the opportunity to chant without offenses. He was calling, he was in the deathbed, and he was about to be dragged out from his body by the Yamadutas, or the agents of Yamaraj. And in that painful condition, he was actually calling out to the name of his son. He also kind of remembered a little bit of his past, and then he could able to remember the Lord also. And in this way, like when he called out to the names of the Lord, and those that became a very, very powerful medium to reach out to the Lord. Immediately Vishnu Dudas appeared in the scene, and then they actually kind of drove away the Yamadutas with a lot of discussion and things like that. So then he gets an extension of life. So then Ajamil becomes a very, very serious practitioner of Krishna consciousness. And we will study this pastime in the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in our Bhagavatam reading sessions. And we will see it then. So, but most important thing is the Ajamil, what he performed, what devotion he performed in his youth or in his childhood, that was preserved, though he became a complete what is that, debauchee or complete sinful person in his character, but then the devotion that he performed before getting into this wrong path was preserved, and then at the right time it came and saved him, right? So it is very important that any devotional service that is performed, and that becomes a great asset to us, and that will save us in the most needy hour, most critical kind of a situation, right? Okay. So there is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. Tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakvota atat pathet thato yadi yatra kva va badra abuda mushyakim ko varda apto bhajatam swadharmatah. It's very, very nice sloka which says Tyaktva means to give up. Swadharma means one's own religious principles or one's own means for a Kshatriya Dharma is Swadharma, or for a Vaishya Dharma is Swadharma. So like to give up one's own material duties, literally in that sense. If we see Tyakta Swadharmam, and then what does he do? Charanam Bhujam Harer. So if he gets attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, giving up his worldly duties, and then what is like, how is he taking shelter of the Lord? Bhajan apakva means like there is no pakwa, there is no, it is not, no pakka, no, in the his, even his bhajan in the Krishna consciousness is not very perfect. So he has given his worldly duties, he's not there, and he is not able to do Krishna consciousness also in a proper perfect way. No, he's neither on the like either side. So he's neither there in the material side, neither there in the spiritual side. What will happen to him, right? So tata pathet tato yadi, even if he falls from the path of spiritual life because of his apakva dharma, so as Ajamil did, he fell from his spiritual path. He fell from his Krishna consciousness. So like this sloka asks, yatra kwa va abadram abudamushyakim. So what is inauspicious about this? No, there is nothing inauspicious about this. And then ko varta apto bhajatam swadharmatah. And he says, like, what is the use of following the worldly duties very nicely? And what's the point? After following all the worldly duties very nicely, what is awarded to us? Another term of birth, death, old age, and disease. And if we follow our Swadharma nicely there also, again we are offered another term of birth, death, old age, and disease. The problems are not going to stop. But in fact, if somebody for practicing Krishna consciousness, seriously, if they have given up the worldly duties, and even if they have not been able to follow Krishna consciousness properly, and they fall apart in between, still it is a very, very amazing thing, because he has made some progress towards this liberation, right? So that is what is highlighted here. So any step that is taken towards the path of liberation, it is highly appreciated, even if we have been noted as a failure in this world, right? Even if we have been noted as completely useless in this world, and if we have made some progress in Krishna consciousness and towards the path of liberation, that's considered to be really very great, right? So that's the whole point. It's not that it is recommending that we have to give up worldly duties. It is highlighting the importance of advancement in Krishna consciousness. So in case, while advancing in Krishna consciousness, even if we are recognized useless in this world, still it is worth progressing in Krishna consciousness, because we will quit the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease at some point, right? So we have taken a step towards that. Okay, let's continue the purport. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Right? So again, another term of birth, death, old age, and disease. That's the gift. That's the thing that we have to get. Okay, or as the Christians say, what profit a man if he gains the whole world, yet suffer the loss of his eternal soul, right? So the material progress and material accomplishments and things like that, it's just an illusion. Material world is, material body is a vehicle that is given, and we should not just get caught up in taking care of this vehicle, or securing some things for the vehicle and then decorating the vehicle and things like that. The vehicle is meant for progressing towards the goal. And what is the use of a vehicle which cannot move towards the goal, right? So that's the whole point here. In material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being. So this is what is mentioned in the translation, or in the shloka, that it can save us from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is again falling into the animal species of life, where after many, many thousands of years or lifetimes, we will again come back to the human form of life. There are 84 lakh species of life is there, and it can take lakhs of species for us to again return back to the human life, and again to think about getting liberation or going back to the spiritual world and things like that. We may just be condemned for lakhs and lakhs of lifetimes. So that's like a great danger. Every time you see an insect, every time you see a dog in the street, every time you see a cat, or a, like, any other living entity or a bug in the house, we should think like, what if I become like this, and when will I again get to the human form of life, and somebody will just catch me and crush me like anything, that's all, and no, or throw stones at me. And that's the life I am going to be in if I'm not going to perfect my life, if I'm not going to progress in Krishna consciousness. So in that way we can actually be very very much serious about the business that we have got into. And if we can work towards the liberation, that's a great thing. That's a great boon. Okay, so at least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family. That will give one a further chance for elevation, right? So this is the benefit of practicing Krishna consciousness. So if we practice and if we fail to perfect our Krishna consciousness, then we will be given chance either to be born in a Brahmana family where high culture of Krishna consciousness is there, or we will be born in a rich aristocratic family where there is no struggle for eating and sleeping and all the basic necessities and things like that. So that from there we can, without any problem, we can continue our Krishna consciousness. Basically, this is just like if a highly placed officer, for him, quarters is given, vehicles are given, and all kinds of like facilities are given. So why? Because he is discharging a high duty. In the same way, if a person is advancing in Krishna consciousness, automatically the material nature or the material needs will be taken care of, right? So, but it requires a serious practice of Krishna consciousness. Then one can expect some better this ones. Okay, so that is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Okay. Text 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhirekeha kurunandana bahushaka hi anantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So this is a very important sloka which Srila Prabhupada often quotes, and in fact, this shloka gave a lot of inspiration for Srila Prabhupada to go to the West and to preach the Krishna consciousness. How is it so? We will see in the purport. Prabhupada himself will be writing about it. Okay. So those, basically here it says that those who are resolute in this path, their aim is one. Those who are in Krishna consciousness, their aim is one. And what is that one aim? Prabhupada will be clarifying in the purport. And then, intelligence of those who are irresolute, they are many branched. So those people who are not Krishna conscious, they have multi-branched intelligence and they cannot have a resolute determination. Okay. Purport. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, or Vyavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 2262 states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasha Kahe, Shuddra Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hai. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. So, what is that sublime thing? When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are engagements of one's reactions from past good and bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. So, like Prabhupada is explaining this sloka. So, I'll just give a small, short translation, and then you will be able to understand this. Shraddha Shabde means this word Shraddha means what? Vishwasha kahe Shudrada Nishchay. No, we should have a solid faith in something very sublime. And what is that? Krishna Bhakti Kaile. No, if we perform Krishna Bhakti, then Sarva Karma Krita hai. No, then that means we have done everything. So there is nothing lacking in that, right? So we don't need to supplement it with anything else. No, if we do Krishna Bhakti, everything that I need to do has been done. So that's the confidence and that's the faith that one person should have, because Krishna is the ultimate source of everything. He is the master of everything, and we perform his duties, then automatically everything that is necessary to be done is done, right? So, and that's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. So one doesn't have the obligations towards any other material things, and then one doesn't have obligation towards any of the. Why does he tell like that? He's substantiating that point by saying fruitive activities. So all the activities apart from Krishna consciousness is considered to be fruitive activities. Means I'm doing it for some personal benefit or personal, labha. So fruitive activities are engagements of one's reactions from past good and bad deeds. So my material life is basically whatever I have done, no good or bad deeds, a result to it is what is I'm actually undergoing. And I can keep doing these duties, but when will I actually come out of this whole cycle of birth and death? And it is like if we try to get out of this world and try to act for the sake of liberation, that is Krishna consciousness. So when we do that, we are absolved from all other duties. So it doesn't call for a irresponsible life in this material world, or irresponsible family life, or irresponsible life in any front, but then it is just highlighting the importance of Krishna conscious activities, right? So it's really very important, because that's something which is going to give us release from this material bondage. Okay, when one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for there are no longer for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness, right? So, like, real thing is that it is not saying that we should not have obligations towards family. You have obligations towards family. Convert the family into Krishna consciousness. So then, like, taking care of the living entities, who are put under our care in proper Krishna consciousness, then it becomes Krishna consciousness. So if we think that these people belong to me, these assets belong to me, and I am the enjoyer, that is what is to be renounced. And physically, like, you may or may not renounce, but the conception of I am the possessor of all these things and I am the enjoyer of all these things, right? So this should be renounced, right? This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. Okay, the resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So this is the knowledge. Prabhupada nicely defines that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, everything that exists is Krishna, and everything should be used in service of Krishna, right? So that is the knowledge, no? A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches. So, by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's action, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who guides him to act in Krishna consciousness. So now, many times people act fanatically, saying that, okay, if I do Krishna consciousness, that is sufficient. I don't need to do anything for anyone else in this world. So that becomes a fanatic kind of a this one. So one need a guidance of an expert spiritual master. So then, no, he will be saved from this fanatic kind of actions, and he can actually do things in a mature way, in a proper Krishna conscious way. So if Krishna is satisfied, then everyone else will be satisfied, right? As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayer for the spiritual masters as follows. So this is what exactly I was mentioning about that one pointed focus. Prabhupada will be mentioning that. Okay. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasha prasadan nagati kutopi dhyayan stuvam stasya yashastri sandhyam vande guroho Sri Charanaravindam. So this, by satisfaction of the spiritual master, the supreme personality of Godhead becomes satisfied, and by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day. So this is generally, if we have initiated with Gayatri mantra, so then we chant the 3 sandhya. That is why it is mentioned as um, 3 sandhyam, yashas 3 sandhyam. So like so therefore I should meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. Right. So this is how a disciple should be offering respects to his spiritual master. And here Prabhupada will be revealing now that one pointed focus. Let's study that. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of body, not theoretically but practically. When there is no longer a chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. So only one who is not firmly fixed in his mind is diverted by various type of fruitive acts. So now this one pointed focus that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning is that the following the instructions of the spiritual master and to please the spiritual master. And this particular aspect, what Prabhupada is quoting here, this Yasha Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado, is a very, very important aspect. So that is what is called as Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. And Srila Prabhupada had this instruction by his spiritual master to go to the West and preach. And when he was in a very, very difficult situation, so when he read this particular sloka and this sloka's commentary, like this Vyavasayatmika Buddhi sloka in Bhagavad Gita and its commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada was very, very clear. I have to just follow the instruction of my spiritual master. So in the old age, he was making plans for going to the West and preach. And this, because that is the instruction that was given to him by his spiritual master. And he was just, nothing was in his favor. And everything was like completely, the age was not there, then the right kind of money was not there, and nobody is known to him in the Western world. And in the Western world, there was a propaganda that like, don't listen to anybody beyond some 40 years or something like that. Like anybody who's little elderly, don't listen to them. So that kind of a big propaganda was going on. And amidst all these things, Srila Prabhupada goes there and he preaches the message of Krishna consciousness. And this is the proof that this is proper intelligence. Proper intelligence means just to fix one's mind on the instruction of the spiritual master and just work for the pleasure of the spiritual master. And in this way, we can actually attain the highest perfection. Okay, so with this, we will stop here for today and we will get back tomorrow. As I had mentioned, like we have other programs in this week, so we are not able to do it 1 hour. So like from Saturday onwards, we will again resume back to our normal schedule. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have one doubt. I have posted.
Yeah, I read that doubt. It is not relevant in this forum, so we can discuss that in the WhatsApp or somewhere.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.